Welcome back to Rugby Obsession. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our deep dives into the awesome world of rugby.
You got it.
Today, we're diving into a tactic that's been making waves.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively, the bomb squad.
It's stirring up a lot of conversation.
Yeah.
But you can't argue with the results, can you?
You're right.
Yeah.
It is hard to argue with the success teams like South Africa have had employing this strategy.
Right.
So for those who might not be familiar,
Sure.
what exactly is the bomb squad?
Well, imagine this.
Okay.
Instead of the usual 5 forwards and 3 backs on the bench,
Right.
you've got a bench stacked with heavy hitters.
Okay.
We're talking 6-2 splits.
Wow.
Sometimes even 7-1.
Wow.
Favoring those powerful forwards.
Okay.
Late in the game, these fresh bombs get subbed in.
Right.
Ready to overpower a tiring opponent.
So it's like a whole second wave of muscle hitting the field as well.
Exactly. And it's a strategy that has brought home some serious silverware.
Yeah.
Think back to the 2019 and 2023 Rugby World Cups. South Africa clinched both titles.
Yeah.
And the bomb squad played a key role in those victories.
Those wins were impressive, to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
Their 32-12 victory over England in the 2019 final.
Absolutely.
And then that absolute demolition of New Zealand, 35-7, in a 2023 warm-up match.
It's a statement.
They even employed it strategically during the 2023 World Cup against Ireland, in the pool stage, and again in the final against the All Blacks.
It's clearly a tactic they have a lot of faith in.
Yeah.
And, even with the concerns that some have raised,
Right.
World Rugby hasn't banned the bomb squad. They're researching its impact. But for now, it's still a legitimate part of the game. If you're a rugby fan, you have to stay informed on this one.
Right.
Make sure you're subscribed to Rugby Obsession to keep up with all the latest developments.
Now let's talk about those concerns. Some people, like former Scotland coach Matt Williams,
Right.
have been quite vocal in their criticism,
Yes.
calling it against the spirit of the game,
Yeah.
and even an abuse of safety laws.
He's got strong opinions on this one.
Yeah. So what are his arguments?
Well, Matt Williams argues that the bomb squad unfairly disadvantages backs.
Okay.
And tilts the game too far in favor of brute strength over speed and finesse.
Right.
He feels it exploits the substitution rules,
Okay.
which were originally intended for injured players,
Right.
not tactical overhauls.
So he's saying it's not about replacing like for like,
No.
but rather about changing the entire dynamic of the game late in the match.
Precisely.
Wow.
He also raises concerns about player safety,
Okay.
arguing that having these massive packs colliding when everyone's already fatigued could lead to a spike in serious injuries.
That's a serious concern,
It is.
especially with the growing emphasis on player welfare in rugby.
Yeah.
Now, even though our sources don't explicitly present arguments in favor of the bomb squad, what do you think those arguments might be?
That's a good question.
There must be some perceived benefits for teams to be adopting this tactic, right?
Absolutely. One potential argument is that it adds another layer of strategy to the game.
Okay.
It forces teams to adapt
Right.
and develop counter strategies to deal with this influx of fresh power in the latter stages.
So it's less about brute force and more about the mental chess match.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Do you try to build an unassailable lead early on?
Right.
Do you focus on tiring out the opposition's starting forwards?
Yeah.
Do you try to counter with your own power game?
Yeah.
It creates a whole new set of tactical challenges.
And of course, you can't ignore the success South Africa has achieved using this tactic.
No, you can.
They've demonstrably proven its effectiveness.
For sure.
It's fascinating to see how the game might evolve in response to this.
Yeah, me too.
We'll be keeping a close eye on it here at Rugby Obsession.
Definitely.
If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future deep dives.
Great advice.
Now, former Ireland hooker Keith Wood has proposed a pretty drastic solution
Oh, yeah.
to address these concerns,
Yeah.
reducing the bench to just 5 players,
Wow.
3 front row,
Okay.
1 utility forward, and 1 utility back.
That would be a major shakeup.
Wow. But before we get into potential rule changes,
Sure.
let's unpack why some people are so concerned about the bomb squad's impact on the very nature of rugby.
I'm ready.
What's at the heart of this debate?
Well, I think it really boils down to the soul of rugby, doesn't it? It really boils down to the soul of rugby, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Rugby has always been this incredible blend of power and finesse, of physicality and skill.
Right.
The bomb squad debate forces us to examine that balance, to ask ourselves what we truly value in the sport.
It's like this tension between the irresistible force and the immovable object.
Yeah.
Do we want rugby to be dominated by those massive collisions, those wars of attrition?
Right.
Or do we want to celebrate the artistry of the backs? The lightning fast runs the dazzling footwork.
Some argue that the bomb squad pushes the game too far towards the former, towards a style that prioritizes size and strength over speed and agility. They worry that it diminishes the role of backs, making them almost peripheral figures in the game's narrative.
You know, it's interesting to think about how this might impact the development of young players.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If the bomb squad becomes the norm, will we see a shift in the types of players coming through the ranks?
Possibly. Yeah.
Will academies focus on churning out these hulking forwards, potentially neglecting the development of those elusive backs?
It's a valid question.
Right.
And it speaks to the broader concern about the future direction of the game.
Yeah.
What kind of rugby do we want to see in 5, 10, 15 years?
Right.
Do we want a game that prioritizes power above all else?
Yeah.
Or do we want to preserve that delicate balance, that interplay of contrasting styles that has always been rugby's hallmark?
And let's not forget the spectator experience.
Right, of course.
Some fans might relish those titanic clashes between forward backs.
Oh, for sure.
But others might crave the excitement of seeing backs break free and create those moments of magic.
It's about catering to different tastes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rugby has always been a sport that appeals to a wide range of fans, and it's important to ensure that the game remains entertaining and engaging for everyone.
It's a tricky situation, that's for sure.
It is.
But I have to say, it makes for a fascinating debate.
It really does.
It gets us thinking about the essence of rugby, about what makes this sport so special.
And remember, this isn't just a theoretical debate happening in the abstract.
Right.
It's playing out right now on the biggest stages of World Rugby.
Yeah.
Just look at South Africa's recent success.
2 World Cups.
Exactly.
They've shown that the bomb squad can be a winning formula, but does that mean it's good for the game in the long run?
That's the real question.
That's the question.
It's a question that World Rugby is grappling with as they conduct their research.
Right.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but what's clear is that the bomb squad has ignited a conversation about the very soul of rugby.
And that conversation is important.
Oh, absolutely.
It's important to have these discussions to weigh the different perspectives, to consider the potential consequences. We're all stakeholders in the game, and the decisions made today will shape the rugby we see tomorrow.
Absolutely, and it's a conversation that we'll be continuing here on Rugby Obsession.
Right.
If you want to stay plugged into this debate, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Now, I'm curious to hear what our listeners think about all this.
Me too.
Do you think the bomb squad is a good thing for rugby?
Yeah.
Or do you share the concerns that some have raised?
Head over to our social media pages and let us know your thoughts.
Yeah?
We always love to hear from our listeners.
Because ultimately, this is about more than just wins and losses.
It is.
It's about the future of a sport we all love.
A sport that brings us all together.
It's a debate that really gets to the heart of what makes rugby so compelling. You know, it's a sport that constantly challenges us to think about the balance between strength and skill.
It does.
Between tradition and innovation.
And what's so fascinating is that there isn't one right answer.
Right.
There are valid points on both sides of the bomb squad debate.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the conversation so engaging.
So where do we go from here?
What?
If the bomb squad does become the norm, could it fundamentally change the way rugby is played? Will we see a future where every team is built around this power-heavy approach?
It's certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
If teams find consistent success with this tactic,
Right.
it's only natural that others will try to replicate it.
Right.
But on the other hand, rugby has always been a sport that adapts and evolves.
Right.
Teams might find innovative ways to counter the bomb squad, to neutralize its effectiveness,
Okay.
and force a new evolution of tactics.
It's like a constant game of chess, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
One side makes a move and the other has to respond. It'll be interesting to see how coaches and players innovate and adapt in the coming years.
Definitely. And let's not forget,
Right.
World Rugby is watching closely.
Yeah.
Their research on the impact of tactical replacements could be a deciding factor in how this all unfolds. They might introduce rule changes
Right.
to address the concerns about player safety or the balance of the game.
So it's a tough task for them.
It is.
They have to balance the need for player welfare with the desire to maintain the integrity and the excitement of the game. It's a delicate balancing act.
It is, but one thing's for sure.
Yeah.
The bomb squad debate has injected a fresh dose of intrigue into the rugby world.
For sure.
It's got everyone talking, debating, and analyzing the game from different angles.
And that's what we love about rugby, isn't it?
It is.
It's a sport that constantly sparks debate, that challenges us to think critically, and that evolves with each passing season. And whether you love the bomb squad or loathe it, it's a conversation that's pushing the sport forward.
Absolutely. And remember, this is a conversation we all can be a part of.
Exactly.
What do you think about the bomb squad?
Yeah, what do you think?
Is it a brilliant tactical innovation?
Right.
Or does it threaten the spirit of rugby?
Head over to our social media pages and let us know your thoughts. We're always eager to hear from our listeners and get your perspectives on these important issues. And of course, if you want to stay up to date on all things rugby, make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession. We'll be back next time with another deep dive into the fascinating world of rugby.
Until then, keep those conversations going, keep those passions burning, and keep that rugby spirit alive.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession podcast.